On this digital media clip, we're going to look at the next step in our coaching process, which is the coaching alliance. On the previous digital clip, we looked at the importance of rapport. Rapport will get you to a point where the person's happy to have a deeper conversation. But without an alliance, there's no permission to have a more probing and serious conversation. So alliance is important. And a great example of this is coaches will go home and try and coach their loved ones. They have great rapport. They have loads of tools. But their loved one will turn around and say, don't use that coaching stuff on me. It's because they didn't design the alliance. So designing the alliance is all about making sure we have permission to ask difficult questions. Because permission allows the coachee and the coach to come at this as equals. I always use the term I'm coaching with somebody rather than I'm coaching somebody. Because I always find the coach and the coachee go on the journey together and they both learn. So permission is the first step. You should never need to formally ask for permission. However, in industrial or workplace coaching, there is often a requirement for us to ensure we have a formal alliance. This is normally the case when a manager, as a sponsor, says, I've got a supervisor I really need to do some work with. Would you sit down with me and craft out a coaching relationship, creating a formal, written coaching contract, which defines the permission and the alliance and the expectations of the relationship. It defines the timescales, the meeting schedules, what it's okay to ask, what it's not okay to ask. So forming an alliance, there are two types, formal and informal. For organizational and business coaching, 99% of our coaching will be informal, in the workplace, conversational coaching sessions that we have with people we meet on a daily basis. But what Alliance helps us do is understand the expectations and accountability. What am I allowed to talk about as a coach? One of the biggest challenges is when we build great rapport and relationships with the guys on the ground, the supervisors and the managers, unless we have a goal, an alliance and a place we need to take them, very quickly it's easy to move from the stuff that goes on in the workplace to the stuff that goes on at home. And then from the stuff that goes on at home to the world's weight of worries that this guy carries around in his head every day. And sometimes this ends up creating an agony aunt more than it does a coach. So the key thing between counseling and coaching, being an agony aunt or somebody that's there to drive the business forwards, is for us, our alliance and our well-formed outcome as a coach is to achieve excellence, to achieve zero harm, to achieve that specific goal that that manager, leader or supervisor really wants to focus on. And that's why we form an alliance, because when somebody goes off on one, as a coach, you can say, can I just remind you what your goal was? Can you just help me understand how this stuff you're sharing affects where you want to be? So alliance helps keep us on track too. The next part we need to consider with designing alliance is what style of coach works best for you. Are you looking for a Mr. Motivator? The kind of guy that arrives full of energy and full of pizzazz? Are you looking for somebody who's the barstool comedian? He's warm, he's enthusing, he's motivational, and you want to achieve goals because you like him as a person. Are you looking for somebody who's steady, logical, methodical and will help craft a great plan, a great structure, but doesn't necessarily motivate you? You have to do that for yourself. Or are you looking for somebody who's very controlling and very accountability focused? What is interesting when you start to look at the styles of coaching, they all have their strengths. So it's important early doors to look at what style of coach works best for you. Typically in an industrial environment, we look for coaches who are moderately driving and enforcing. They can motivate themselves, but they're not necessarily the kind of person that motivates the whole business. That's the leader's job. They're normally engaging, enthusiastic and motivational by their influencing skills, so high I people. We're also looking for middle of the line or below the line S's. Fast-paced, alert, active, restless people who are good on the go. They're good without a plan or a structure, and they get on well with people they meet most of the time. And finally, somebody who has a flick-up C and focuses on coaching people to manage and follow systems and procedures. A flick-down C or a level C, somebody who's comfortable allowing the coachee to make up their own goals and rules as they go along. The final part of a business coach's role is accountability and knowing how to hold an individual, a team, and a leadership team to account, making sure that they follow up on their actions. Our biggest challenges as coaches is we motivate people to think, but we don't necessarily close out the actions. So helping the coachees come up with a strategy for ensuring they hold each other to account and hold themselves to account is a key part of that initial designing the alliance.